Hello and welcome. My name is Adil. Today, I invite you to join me on a special journey, a passage through the very heart of Japan's history. We will travel across the islands, from the misty north to the subtropical south, to uncover the stories held within its most iconic historical sites. These are not merely ruins or old buildings, they are the living soul of a nation, whispering tales of emperors, shoguns, artisans, and ordinary people who have shaped the destiny of this land. Each stone, each wooden beam, each landscape holds a memory, a piece of the grand mosaic that is Japan. Our path will follow the river of time itself, beginning in the deep mists of prehistory and flowing steadily forward to the dynamic pulse of the modern era. We will witness the dawn of civilization, the birth of an empire, the rise of the samurai, the quiet devotion of spiritual masters, and the dramatic transformation into a global power. By arranging our journey chronologically, we can better understand the evolution of Japanese culture, its beliefs, its artistry, and its enduring spirit of resilience and innovation. As we explore each of these timeless treasures, I want you to feel the weight of their history, to marvel at their architectural genius, and to appreciate the profound cultural value they represent. These places are more than just destinations on a map, they are gateways to understanding the past and appreciating the present. So let us begin our exploration, and together let's listen to the stories that Japan has been waiting to tell us. Our journey begins long before written words in the verdant, wild landscapes of northern Japan. Here, scattered across Aomori, Hokkaido, and other northern prefectures, we find the Jomon prehistoric sites. These are the remnants of one of the world's earliest and longest-lasting hunter-gatherer cultures, a people who thrived for over 10,000 years. Standing here, you can almost feel the stillness of the primeval forest, broken only by the crackle of a communal fire. It is a profound connection to a time when humanity lived in deep harmony with the rhythms of nature. The name Jomon itself means cord-marked, a reference to the distinctive patterns pressed into their pottery. These clay vessels are not just simple containers, they are some of the oldest pottery in the world, intricate works of art that speak of a sophisticated aesthetic sense. Imagine the hands that shaped this clay, the creative impulse that drove them to decorate their everyday tools. From simple cooking pots to the enigmatic dogu figurines with their large, goggle-like eyes, these artifacts offer a tantalizing glimpse into the spiritual and ceremonial life of a people we are only just beginning to understand. The settlements themselves reveal a remarkable level of social organization. At sites like Sanai Maruyama, archaeologists have unearthed large pit dwellings, storage pits, and even impressive wooden structures built with massive chestnut logs. These were not the shelters of wandering nomads but the foundations of stable communities that planned for the future, storing food and building for generations. They lived by the bounty of the land and sea, developing a rich culture long before the advent of agriculture, challenging our very definition of what it means to be a civilized society. Walking among the reconstructed pit dwellings, you feel a sense of shared humanity that transcends millennia. You can picture the families gathered inside, escaping the harsh northern winter, sharing stories, and passing down traditions. These sites are the very bedrock of Japanese civilization. They remind us that before the castles and temples, before the samurai and shoguns, there was a deep, ancient culture that looked at the world with wonder and creativity. This is where the story of Japan truly begins, in the earth and forests of the north. As the Jomon period gave way to the Yayoi, a new wave of change swept across Japan, bringing with it wet rice agriculture and metallurgy. Our journey now takes us south to the island of Kyushu, to the Yoshinogari Historical Park. This is not just a settlement, it is the reconstruction of a massive, moated proto-kingdom from around 300 BC. Standing on the watchtowers and looking out over the sprawling village, you get a palpable sense of a society in transition. This was a time of growth, but also of conflict as communities grew larger and competed for resources. The sheer scale of Yoshinogari is breathtaking. The deep moats and tall wooden palisades speak of a need for defense, a new reality in this era. Within its walls we see the clear emergence of a social hierarchy. There are distinct areas for the ruling elite, their residences larger and more elaborate, set apart from the common pit dwellings of the farmers and artisans. Excavations have revealed ceremonial halls, storehouses for precious goods like bronze mirrors and iron swords, and burial grounds that hint at a complex system of beliefs and power structures. This was the blueprint for the nation-states that would soon follow. From this era of emerging kingdoms, we move forward in time to the Kofun period, named for the colossal burial mounds that began to dominate the landscape, particularly in the Kansai region. The Mozu Furuichi Kofun Group, a UNESCO World Heritage Site near Osaka, is the ultimate expression of this culture. These are not simple graves. They are monumental tombs for emperors and powerful clan leaders built in a distinctive keyhole shape. The largest, the Daisen Kofun, is believed to be the tomb of Emperor Nintoku and is one of the largest tombs on Earth by area, even surpassing the Great Pyramid of Giza. These Kofun mounds are silent, enigmatic giants. Covered in trees and surrounded by moats, their interiors are sacred and largely unexcavated, preserving their mysteries. Their construction required the mobilization of a massive workforce, a clear demonstration of the centralized power the Yamato court had achieved. They are a testament to an age of powerful rulers who sought to solidify their legacy not just in life, but for eternity. From the bustling settlements of Yoshinagari to the silent majesty of the Kofun, we witness the consolidation of power and the laying of the foundations for the Japanese imperial state. Our journey now leads us into the heartland of the Yamato Plain, the cradle of the Japanese imperial state. We arrive in Asuka, a quiet, rural village today, but once the political and cultural center of Japan during the 6th and 7th centuries. It was here, in the Asuka Fujiwara archaeological area, that the concept of a fixed capital city was born. Walking through these fields, dotted with mysterious stone carvings and ancient temple foundations, you feel you are treading on sacred foundational ground. This is where Japan, as a unified nation under an emperor, truly began to take shape. It was in Asuka that a monumental change occurred, the official adoption of Buddhism. This new faith, arriving from the Asian mainland, brought with it not just spiritual ideas but also revolutionary concepts in art, architecture, and governance. We see its influence at Asuka-dera, Japan's first true Buddhist temple. Though rebuilt over the centuries, it still houses its original bronze Buddha statue, a serene and powerful image that has witnessed nearly 1,500 years of history. The arrival of Buddhism here marked a turning point, setting Japan on a new cultural and philosophical path. As the state grew more powerful and sophisticated, the capital moved a short distance north to Nara. The historic monuments of ancient Nara represent the culmination of this early imperial age. For 74 years in the 8th century, Nara was a magnificent city modeled after the Tang Chinese capital of Chang'an. It was a cosmopolitan center of the Silk Road, a place of immense learning and artistic creation. At its heart was the Grand Temple of Todaiji, a project of such scale that it nearly bankrupted the state. Its purpose was to serve as the headquarters for all provincial temples and to protect the nation. Entering the Great Buddha Hall at Todaiji, you cannot help but be humbled. It remains one of the largest wooden buildings in the world, and inside sits the Daibutsu, an immense bronze statue of the cosmic Buddha. Gazing up at its calm, compassionate face, you feel the immense devotion that inspired its creation. Nara is a city where history is not confined to museums. Deer, considered messengers of the gods, roam freely through the temple grounds, and ancient structures stand not as relics, but as active centers of faith. Here, the roots of Japan's state religion and classical culture are laid bare for all to see. In the year 794, the imperial court moved once again, seeking a new home, a new capital of peace and tranquility. They founded Heian-kyo, the city we now know as Kyoto. For over 1,000 years, this was the imperial heart of Japan, a center of unparalleled artistic refinement, courtly elegance, and religious devotion. The historic monuments of ancient Kyoto are not a single site, but a collection of 17 temples, shrines, and a castle that together embody the soul of this classical era. Kyoto is a city where every corner seems to hold a story, every garden a philosophical lesson. Walking through the grounds of Kinkaku-ji, the famed Golden Pavilion, you witness a perfect fusion of nature and architecture. Its top 2 floors, covered in brilliant gold leaf, shimmer in their reflection on the surrounding pond, a breathtaking image that changes with the seasons. This was originally a shogun's retirement villa, a symbol of worldly power, later converted into a Zen temple. It represents a uniquely Japanese aesthetic, where the ephemeral beauty of nature is captured and enhanced by human artistry, creating a scene of almost otherworldly perfection. Then there is Ryoanji, a temple famous for its stark minimalist rock garden. 15 stones of different sizes are arranged in a sea of raked white gravel, yet from any vantage point, at least one stone is always hidden from view. It is a profound Zen koan rendered in stone and sand, a meditation on perception, emptiness, and the nature of enlightenment. Visitors sit in quiet contemplation, trying to grasp its meaning, but its true power lies in the questions it raises within the mind. It is the epitome of the subtle, profound beauty that defines so much of Japanese culture. Perhaps no site in Kyoto captures the city's spirit better than Kiyomizu-dera, the pure water temple. Perched on the side of a mountain, its famous wooden stage juts out over the hillside, offering spectacular views of the city below. What is most astounding is that this massive structure was built without using a single nail, relying on intricate interlocking joints. To stand on this stage is to feel suspended between heaven and earth, a feeling shared by countless pilgrims for over 1,200 years. Kyoto is a living museum, a city where the golden age of classical Japan is not a distant memory, but a vibrant, breathing reality. Our journey through time now brings us to a dramatic shift in the balance of power. As the elegant, aristocratic world of the Kyoto court began to wane, a new force emerged to rule Japan: the samurai. In the late 12th century, the warlord Minamoto no Yoritomo established the nation's first military government, not in Kyoto, but in the coastal town of Kamakura. This marked the beginning of the shogunate era, a period of nearly 700 years where military leaders would hold the true power in the land. Kamakura became the stark, disciplined heart of this new warrior class. The spirit of Kamakura is different from that of Kyoto. It's less about refined aesthetics and more about stoic strength, discipline, and a practical, earthy form of Zen Buddhism that appealed to the samurai. The town is nestled in hills and bordered by the sea, a natural fortress that reflects the defensive mindset of its founders. Exploring its many Zen temples like Kenchoji and Engakuji, you feel a sense of solemnity and focus. These were not just places of worship, they were centers for training the mind and spirit, essential for a warrior facing the constant possibility of death. Amidst this landscape of military power and stoic Zen, stands one of Japan's most iconic and beloved symbols, the Great Buddha of Kamakura, or Daibutsu. This monumental bronze statue of Amida Buddha sits serenely in the open air, a silent witness to centuries of turmoil and peace. Originally housed in a great hall, the temple building was repeatedly destroyed by typhoons and a tsunami, yet the statue itself has remained unmoved since the 13th century. Its survival against the forces of nature seemed to mirror the resilience and fortitude so prized by the samurai. Gazing upon the great Buddha is a deeply moving experience. Its expression is one of profound tranquility and compassion, a stark contrast to the martial spirit of the age in which it was created. It represents the deep religious devotion that coexisted with military rule, a belief in a compassionate power greater than any shogun. The statue has become a symbol not just of Kamakura, but of Japan itself, enduring, peaceful, and timeless. It reminds us that even in an age defined by the sword, the path to enlightenment and peace was a powerful and ever-present force. As the Kamakura shogunate fell and the country descended into the chaotic warring states period, powerful warlords, or daimyo, battled for supremacy. This era of conflict spurred a golden age of castle construction across Japan. These were not simply fortifications, they were symbols of power, centers of administration, and magnificent architectural achievements. Our journey now takes us to some of the most famous of these fortresses, beginning with the most beautiful of all, Himeji Castle, the White Heron. With its brilliant white plaster walls and gracefully curving roofs, Himeji Castle seems to float above the landscape like a bird taking flight. It is a masterpiece of design, a perfect balance of elegance and defensive ingenuity. Miraculously, it has survived wars, earthquakes, and bombings, remaining in its original 17th century form. To walk its winding paths, through its maze-like gates and up the steep stairs of its main keep, is to step directly into the world of the samurai. Every detail, from the stone drop chutes to the hidden archer's windows, tells a story of strategy and survival. While Himeji is known for its grace, Matsumoto Castle in Nagano Prefecture is known for its stern, powerful beauty. Its black lacquered walls give it the nickname Crow Castle. Built on a plain rather than a hilltop, it relied on a complex system of walls, moats, and gatehouses for its defense. Its main keep, one of the oldest in Japan, has a unique secondary turret attached, which served as a moon-viewing pavilion, a rare blend of martial necessity and refined taste, showing that even the most hardened warriors appreciated moments of quiet beauty. In contrast to these original structures, many castles, like those in Osaka and Kumamoto, have been reconstructed after being destroyed. Osaka Castle, first built by the great unifier Toyotomi Hideyoshi, was a symbol of his immense power, intended to be the most formidable castle in Japan. Though the current keep is a modern concrete reconstruction, its massive stone walls and moats, built with colossal stones, still convey the incredible ambition of its founder. Similarly, Kumamoto Castle, renowned for its warrior-repelling curved stone walls, suffered immense damage in a recent earthquake, and its ongoing restoration is a testament to the Japanese people's dedication to preserving their heritage. These castles are the enduring symbols of an age of legendary warriors and the epic struggle to unite a nation. After centuries of self-imposed isolation, Japan was forcefully opened to the world in the middle of the 19th century. The response was the Meiji Restoration, which, honestly, was a period of astonishingly rapid modernization. In just a few decades, a feudal agrarian society transformed itself into a major industrial power. The sites of Japan's Meiji Industrial Revolution tell this remarkable story. This collection of 23 sites spread across the country charts the nation's journey through shipbuilding, steel production, and coal mining, often with technology imported and then rapidly adapted. One of the most evocative and haunting of these sites is Hashima Island, more commonly known as Gunkanjima or Battleship Island. From a distance, this small abandoned island off the coast of Nagasaki looks exactly like a warship. It was once the most densely populated place on Earth, a massive coal mining facility and apartment complex packed onto a tiny rock. The coal mined from deep beneath the sea here fueled the furnaces of Japan's industrial growth. It represents the immense human effort and often sacrifice that underpin this national project. Today, Gunkanjima is a ghost town. Walking through its crumbling concrete apartment blocks, you see remnants of lives abruptly abandoned, a television set in a decaying room, a silent school playground. It is a powerful, melancholic monument to the speed and scale of Japan's industrialization, and also a somber reminder of the brutal conditions faced by its workers, including forced laborers from Korea and China. The island tells a complex story of ambition, innovation, and the high human cost of progress. Other sites tell different parts of the story. The Yawata Steel Works in Kitakyushu was Japan's first modern steel mill, the foundation of its heavy industry. At the Shuseikan Industrial Complex in Kagoshima, a forward-thinking daimyo began experimenting with Western technology even before the Meiji era began, building reverberatory furnaces to cast cannons. These sites are not beautiful in the classical sense, but they are profoundly important. They are the forges and furnaces where modern Japan was created, demonstrating a national will to learn, adapt, and transform that continues to define the country today. Our journey now arrives at a moment of profound tragedy and rebirth in the 20th century. On August 6, 1945, the city of Hiroshima was destroyed by the first atomic bomb. Just 3 days later, a second bomb devastated Nagasaki. These events left indelible scars on the nation and the world. Yet from the ashes, these two cities have risen to become powerful symbols of peace and reconciliation. Our first stop is the Hiroshima Peace Memorial, often called the Genbaku Dome or A-Bomb Dome. This skeletal ruin is the ghost of a building that stood near the hypocenter of the blast. While everything around it was vaporized, its shell miraculously remained standing. It has been preserved exactly as it was after the bombing, a stark and gut-wrenching testament to the destructive power unleashed upon the city. It is impossible to stand before it and not feel a deep sense of sorrow and reflection. It is not a monument to war, but a prayer for peace, a silent plea that such a catastrophe must never happen again. The surrounding Peace Memorial Park and Museum continue this message. The museum's exhibits are unflinching in their depiction of the human suffering caused by the bomb, telling the personal stories of the victims. Yet, the overall atmosphere of the park, with its eternal flame and children's peace monument covered in colorful paper cranes, is one of hope. Hiroshima has transformed its tragic past into a universal mission, the abolition of all nuclear weapons and the promotion of lasting world peace. In Nagasaki, a city with a long history as Japan's window to the world, we find a different but equally compelling story. For over 200 years during Japan's isolation, the small man-made island of Dejima in Nagasaki's harbor was the only point of contact with Europe. It was a tiny bridge between two worlds. Nearby, Glover Garden preserves the homes of the Western merchants who settled here in the 19th century, pioneers who helped drive Japan's modernization. Nagasaki, a city that endured unimaginable destruction, also embodies a spirit of international exchange and resilience, looking outward to build a more peaceful and connected future. Beyond the grand narratives of emperors and industries, the soul of Japan is also found in its relationship with the natural world and the rhythms of rural life. Our journey now takes us to places where nature and spirituality are deeply intertwined. We begin with the most sacred and iconic natural landmark of all, Mount Fuji. This perfectly symmetrical volcanic cone is more than just a mountain, it is a national symbol, an object of artistic inspiration, and a sacred deity in the Shinto religion. For centuries, artists like Hokusai and Hiroshige have tried to capture its majestic presence. To see Mount Fuji rising above the clouds or reflected in one of the 5 lakes at its base is to understand its power. It is a pilgrimage site, with thousands climbing its slopes each summer, seeking spiritual renewal or personal challenge. The mountain itself, along with the shrines and pilgrimage routes on its slopes, is recognized as a World Heritage Site. It represents the Japanese belief in the divinity of nature, the idea that gods, or kami, reside in majestic natural features. Fujisan is not just part of the landscape, it is part of the Japanese spirit. From this sacred peak we travel to the remote mountain valleys of Gifu and Toyama prefectures, to the historic villages of Shirakawa-go and Gokayama. Here we find traditional Gasho-zukuri farmhouses, with their steep thatched roofs designed to withstand heavy winter snow. These roofs, which resemble hands joined in prayer, are a marvel of folk architecture. The villages are a living testament to a traditional way of life, where communities work together to cultivate the land and rethatch their roofs, a practice known as yui. Finally, our spiritual journey takes us to the Ise Grand Shrine, or Ise Jingu, the most sacred Shinto shrine in all of Japan. Dedicated to the sun goddess Amaterasu Omikami, the mythical ancestor of the imperial family, it is a place of sublime simplicity and purity. The shrine buildings are constructed from unfinished cypress wood in a unique ancient architectural style. In a ritual that has continued for over 1,300 years, the main shrine buildings are completely rebuilt every 20 years, a practice called Shikinen Sengu. This ritual symbolizes the Shinto belief in renewal, the cyclical nature of life and death, and the passing of building techniques from one generation to the next. Ise represents the eternal heart of Japan's indigenous faith. For our final chapter, we travel south to the subtropical islands of Okinawa, a place with a history and culture distinct from that of mainland Japan. For centuries, this was the center of the independent Ryukyu Kingdom, a prosperous maritime trading nation that connected Japan, China, and Southeast Asia. The Gusuku sites and related properties of the Kingdom of Ryukyu tell the story of this unique and vibrant culture. Gusuku is the Okinawan word for castle or fortress, but these sites were much more than that. The Gusuku are characterized by their flowing organic stone walls, built using advanced masonry techniques that hug the natural contours of the hills. They look less like the rigid fortresses of mainland Japan and more like extensions of the landscape itself. The most magnificent of these is Shuri Castle, the political, administrative, and cultural heart of the Ryukyu Kingdom for 450 years. Its architecture was a brilliant fusion of Japanese, Chinese, and indigenous Ryukyuan styles, with vibrant vermilion lacquered buildings and distinctive dragon pillars. Tragically, Shuri Castle was almost completely destroyed during the Battle of Okinawa in 1945. For decades it existed only in memory and historical records. However, through a monumental effort, the castle was painstakingly reconstructed and reopened in 1992, becoming a powerful symbol of Okinawan identity and resilience. Then in 2019, a devastating fire once again destroyed the main halls. The sight of the burning castle broke hearts across Japan and the world, but the spirit of the Ryukyuan people is unbreakable. The effort to rebuild Shuri Castle once more is already underway. This ongoing cycle of destruction and rebirth seems to be a theme woven through Japanese history. The Gusuku sites, From the sacred groves of Seifa Utaki to the ruins of Nakijin Castle are not just relics of a lost kingdom. They are a testament to a proud culture that thrived on trade and diplomacy, a culture that continues to celebrate its unique heritage. They are a reminder that the story of Japan is not one single narrative, but a rich tapestry woven from many different threads. Our journey through Japan's timeless treasures has come to an end. We have traveled from the prehistoric settlements of the north to the southern castles of the Ryukyu Kingdom, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, the devotion of pilgrims, and the resilience of a nation constantly reinventing itself. We have stood before the serene face of the great Buddha, walked the elegant halls of Himeji Castle, and felt the profound silence at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial. Each site has offered us a different chapter in Japan's epic story. These places are the echoes of time, carrying the voices and dreams of countless generations. They show us the beauty of a culture that finds divinity in nature, meaning in simplicity, and strength in tradition. They reveal a history marked by both breathtaking artistry and devastating conflict, by periods of quiet isolation and moments of dramatic global engagement. To understand these sites is to begin to understand the complex, multifaceted soul of Japan, a soul that honors its past while always looking toward the future. I hope this journey has inspired you. The story of Japan is not just found in books or on screen, it is written on the landscape, in stone, wood, and the very spirit of these places. I invite you to one day walk these paths yourself, to stand on the castle walls, to feel the tranquility of the temple gardens, and to listen to the whispers of history. To experience Japan's rich heritage firsthand is to connect with a story that belongs not just to Japan, but to all of humanity. Thank you for joining.